weighing in at 242 pounds, main event, Jey Uso!
Wade, here's the problem if you're Jey Uso. Not only do you got to worry about an angry Scottish warrior coming your way, but you also have to make a decision. The Judgment Day told Jey Uso, we want a decision before the end of the night tonight. Are you with us or are you against us?
Well, if you ask KO, that decision has already been made. And Jey Uso, regardless of what he's telling everyone, is already a member of the Judgment Day.
You can't ask Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn anything because they left the arena to, well, cool down after the confrontation with Jey Uso earlier tonight. Coming up next, main event, Jey Uso against an angry Scottish warrior, Drew McIntyre. They go one-on-one, live next on Monday Night Raw. Ladies and gentlemen, next week, Monday Night Raw comes to you from Ontario, California. And what a matchup for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn look to get their titles back from Priest and Balor of the Judgment Day live.
Big Bronson Reed put away one half of the Alpha Academy tonight. Can he complete the set next week when he meets his physical match in the form of the Tree Trunk Otis? Reinforce the ring when the big lads collide next week on Raw.
And Shinsuke Nakamura, how will he respond? Seth Rollins has been pushed to the point where he says, name the time, the place, the environment. What will Shinsuke Nakamura do with the World Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins challenge next week? Main event, Jey Uso. Will he join the Judgment Day? Can he knock off Drew McIntyre? All those questions to be answered right now on Monday Night Raw.
And his opponent from Ayr, Scotland, weighing in at 275 pounds, Drew McIntyre!
Drew McIntyre admits there is a lot of conflict swirling around him. He said there are a lot of wrongs that he needs to make right. And that this isn't the Monday Night Raw that he was champion over. He said he didn't enjoy what he had to do to Xavier Woods last week, but he will enjoy what he has to do to Jey Uso tonight.
Well, Drew McIntyre has been livid with Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, the Viking Raiders, Adam Pearce, even Cody Rhodes, and anyone else who has crossed his path in recent weeks. But especially, perhaps none more so than the man who made his life a living hell for 3 straight years, costing him opportunity after opportunity, giving him beatdown after beatdown. The man he squares off against tonight, Jey Uso.
You know, and you look back, Wade, and things I think really started to fester, right? They started to boil a little bit for Drew McIntyre about a year ago at Clash at the Castle in Cardiff, Wales. The night that Drew McIntyre had an opportunity to knock off the undisputed champion Roman Reigns. The bloodline interfered, of course, the rest is history. And I think since that moment, Drew McIntyre just has not had the chance to climb to the top of the mountain. And that's eating at him inside, and he understands that he's got to try to right that wrong, in his words.
As a Brit, that was supposed to be his career highlight, his moment that he didn't get when he won the WWE Championship at a crowdless WrestleMania. It was all supposed to be made good at Clash at the Castle, and Jey Uso is one of the men responsible for preventing Drew from achieving that destiny.
So let's talk about Jey Uso, what he's facing here. For Jey Uso is not finding life all that pleasant since he's come back to Monday Night Raw after Cody Rhodes worked some things behind the scenes to get Jey Uso back into the fold. He's made a lot of enemies over the years as part of the Bloodline and Roman Reigns group. He understands he has to prove his trust to people to get them to believe in him.
That's all you've got. This is going to be quick.
Kevin Owens doesn't trust Jey Uso. Drew McIntyre clearly does not trust Jey Uso. I'm sure there are many others in the locker room that don't. And now you've got coming from the other side, Damian Priest and Judgment Day, who are trying to offer, sort of an oasis for Jey Uso, an opportunity to become part of a family once again, to have backup where there is no leader at the rank of Roman Reigns, where it's a big-time family. And what does Uso do? Because he has to make a decision tonight.
Well, you're right. First of all, Jey Uso's body is covered in bullseyes right now as far as the entire Raw locker room is concerned. The other thing you have to remember, for Jey's entire life, he's always had, at minimum, one person having his back at all times. Right now, he really has nobody. I know Sami Zayn's like, oh, I'm okay with you. Cody's, I'm okay with you. They ain't out here helping him. They're not here protecting him. This is alien territory for Jey Uso. Jey Uso needs friends right now, and those friends are going to be the Judgment Day.
Well, and just look what's happened over on Friday Night SmackDown with Jey's brother Jimmy, right? Jimmy understood that it was a rough go trying to go it alone, and now he's trying to butter up once again to Solo Sikoa and Roman and Paul, the Bloodline. And now McIntyre just pounding away on Jey Uso.
What are Jimmy and Jey used to? They're used to tag team dominance. They are each 50% of the greatest tag team in history. So to suddenly go for that, to flying solo, sounds great. Reads great on paper. The reality is very different. Standing on your own 2 feet with no backup.
It's Uso with a big right hand. And again, McIntyre's been a part of groups and tag teams in his career, but he really has had the most success as a loner. And that's what McIntyre is. He likes to work alone, and he's going to take names and make them pay, as he's doing here tonight to Jey Uso. Nice suplex by McIntyre. Going to float into the cover, hook to the leg now, and a kick out by main event Jey Uso.
Yeah, listen, I've known Drew for about 20 years, but it has been a long time since I've seen Drew McIntyre with a chip on his shoulder as big as the one he has right now. That puts McIntyre back in the red zone, and I don't care if you're Rey Mysterio, you're Gunther, you're Seth, you're Roman. Those guys all need to be looking over their shoulder right now, because Drew McIntyre will be coming for one of them.
We tried to speak to Drew a bit earlier on, and Drew really didn't want to talk to us either. Said he'll let his actions in the ring do the talking tonight.
Well, he's doing exactly that before our eyes.
Oh, and I think too, and we discussed this a little last week. Wait, the fact that Drew, I think he's hurt a bit, right? He's sort of the forgotten man. He was WWE champion during a real dark period in the history of the world, right? And he really carried WWE throughout all of that. And I think it bothers him a bit.
I guarantee it bothers him a bit. It's like the bar talking about this with Drew. Carried WWE through the dark ages of no crowds, won it all, and then the second the world opened back up again, the real stars take center stage, leaving Drew McIntyre in the wings. I'd be bitter too.
Not to say that Drew McIntyre isn't a real star, because of course he is.
No, but that's how
I get your point.
Right?
Exactly.
Okay, everyone else stay home, let me carry the load, then come back when the crowds are here and everyone's chanting your name. It shouldn't work like that.
Now Jey Uso taking out McIntyre, understands he's got to keep the big Scotsman off his feet, and he's going to do that with another suicide dive.
McIntyre's world getting rocked, all of a sudden had it all his own way in the early going to this one, but
oh, look who's here. Damian Priest said, don't make me look bad. Give me your decision tonight. Are you with us or aren't you?